Hey guys, Marvin Pearden with Driven by Graphics. I've got a brand new WorkForce WF 7710 printer that I'm going to work on getting set up for sublimation. It's still in the wrapper, so I'm going to work on getting that unwrapped and prepared for the setup for sublimation here in just a few minutes. But just wanted to show that it is brand new. It does come with a typical power cord as well as the standard pigment inks from Epson. Some people will recommend that you install these first to ensure that the printer is printing and operating properly with their inks. And then you can install your refillable sublimation cartridges and flush the pigment ink out, and then move forward with obviously using it as a sublimation printer. I'm not going to install the pigment inks today. I'm going to go straight into the installation using the refillable cartridges. I've already put sublimation ink in these and they're ready to go. So hopefully you guys will hang out with me a little bit as we go through the full process of quote unquote converting this WorkForce printer to a sublimation printer. I'm going to take some time and get this unwrapped and be right back with you to get started on the conversion, get it set up as a sublimation printer. Alright, so we've got the printer unwrapped, and basically just wanted to go over a couple of things real quick about the printer, kind of features of, if you will, on the 7710 if you're not aware. Obviously the 7710 and 7720 are multi-function printers, and all that means is ultimately it has a scanner. It's got the scanner tray, the feed tray here, and then also it has the standard bed as a scanner. In terms of, operationally, open up, this is where paper will feed through. Your cartridges will be installed here, and then we've got a rear tray to feed paper as well, and the back basically flips down to allow you to feed paper there, and then your typical paper cassette for your sublimation paper to be inserted in for printing. One thing to note about this tray is obviously it's got the adjustable width, you've got the length of your paper, but there's also a way that this can actually extend that a lot of people don't recognize for longer paper as well. So just trying to become familiar with your printer and understanding the capabilities within what's possible, what you can do with it with the wider papers and that sort of thing. So just wanted to kick that off, and we'll basically get it powered on here in a moment and get the sublimation ink installed and go through the full process. Alright, so now that we've completely unpackaged the printer, we've become familiar. I showed the different multifunction portions of with the scanner, the paper tray. I went ahead and loaded some 8.5 by 14 legal size paper into the paper tray. So now we can go ahead and get this installed into the printer. And we'll get it powered on here in a moment and continue going through the full process. That's set in there. With the larger papers, as I extended out the tray, obviously it does stick out from the printer a bit. So we're good to go there. I've got the power cord connected to the back of the printer. Haven't plugged it in yet. The printer does have three different ways really that you can connect your computer to it. One, standard USB connection. The USB cable does not come with the printer itself, so you'd have to provide a USB cable yourself. I went ahead and plugged this into the printer. Haven't connected to the laptop. This time I'm going to do the setup today. It also has, in the same area, there's a Ethernet port, so you can directly hardwire it to your local network. And then also it has Wi-Fi built in as well, so if you set it up on your wireless network, you can connect to it that way. So three different ways you can get connected. Today I'm going to go through and do the USB connection. So let's go ahead and get it powered up and run through the menus on the screen. Alright, so I've got it plugged in now. Let's see if I can get it powered on. And this is a touchscreen, for those not familiar with. Asking for language, country, daylight savings time, your date format, current date. Your time format, current time, alright, now it's going through and saying it's preparing. Alright, so now it says to, what that does thing so it's easier to hear me. Alright, so it says to install the ink cartridges that came with the printer, close the scanner unit, and the initialization will begin. So we'll open up, eventually we'll get prepared to install the cartridges, and basically the printer carriage has moved over a little bit. Usually it's tucked in up under this lip so that you can't actually lift this portion of the printer carriage. So this lifts up, and essentially it's got the labels here of where your inks go, and then there's little nozzles down here in the bottom that actually puncture the bottom of the printer cartridges when they're installed. So I'll basically start right to left and install our cartridges. Get that to clip in. Got the yellow, do magenta, cyan, and black. And the typical black is really about the same size as these others. This is the 254 XL, which just holds a lot more ink to it, so it's a significantly bigger cartridge. But this particular printer does fit this size cartridge. Alright, so the cartridges are installed. Flip that down, close the printer. And ultimately what will happen is it goes through a priming process where the ink is taken from the cartridges and it primes the line in between the cartridge itself and where the print head actually releases the ink to get to the paper. Give that a moment to do its thing. While that's going through, it looks like that's going to take a few minutes. I'm going to switch over and pull up the Epson website and hit on some things there in terms of the driver installation and stuff like that. Okay, so I'm here on the Epson website, and this is just a product page. This is the product page for the WF 7710. Obviously apologize for the noise of the printer. This obviously page showing currently this printer's out of stock and the price and whatnot, but the main thing here that you're looking for is under support is where we want to get our driver. And go to right here, drivers and downloads, and it's going to pull up this support page. Scroll up a little bit so you can see portions of the support page. So it has your downloads, your questions, different things to help in terms of support of the printer. And what I've went ahead and done is downloaded this combo package installer. I'm going to go ahead and go through, got it downloaded here. We'll go ahead and go through the installation. As you can see there, contains everything you need. And this is really just typical printer installation of any desktop printer that you would have. This is the typical way that you should go through and do your installation. Obviously, some different things here. I don't necessarily care that I have the guide link, and I don't really want to participate in their research software. So I just uncheck those personally. Install. works its way through. You can see I had downloaded the new driver. It's installing drivers currently. And it's obviously just showing the full kind of end-to-end process of installation of a brand new Epson WorkForce printer. Process should be the same whether you're using other Epson printers for sublimation process, or for sublimation, or desktop use for that matter. Let this go through. Getting your printer set up, click next. This is what I talked about a moment ago in terms of how we're going to connect. You can do the wireless connection, your wired network, or in this case I'm going to do direct USB. And you'll see on the screen it says do not connect the cable until prompted. Right? So click next. Wait for the printer to finish charging the ink before continuing. When it's done, click next. So at this point we're waiting on the printer. Okay, so our initialization process has completed, and we'll go ahead and basically hop back to the software and wrap up with the driver installation. Okay, so we're back to the driver installation screen, and as it asked us to wait until it had finished charging the ink, so we'll click next. And now it's finally asking you to connect your printer. If you connect prior to this point, what will happen is the Windows operating system will go ahead and install its default driver for Epson printers, and you will not have all the proper options in terms of print quality and paper settings and other stuff that are relevant that you actually need for sublimation use. So we'll go ahead and get this connected now. Detected the printer. And it's asking if we want to print a test page. We'll click yes. Go ahead and click yes on this. Alright, and this did go ahead and print out successfully our test page. Alright, nothing crazy there. It did prompt me because I had installed the letter paper, and for this test print it was asking for letter paper to be installed, and so I did have to click OK and accept to go ahead and print on this page through the menu. One other thing I'll quickly show. One, there is a paper catch here that I did not have out. Because your prints can fall basically without that being out, so that'll catch. And then also through the menu settings option here, you can go to maintenance, and that's where you'll find the nozzle check to go ahead and print if you have nozzle issues. That's one of the common things that's brought about when you have some banding or different print issues, is to look and do that nozzle check and make sure that all the print heads are, not the print heads, but the actual nozzles of the print heads are all firing. And that you get good color out of. So that kind of wraps up in terms of the actual printer installation, installing of the inks, charging of the inks, and successfully getting connected and getting prints. So I'll do another video later on about print settings and what I'm going to use for these particular inks, or possibly just do a documentation that would assist and go along with, because those can change depending on different inks that you're using. I'm going to be carrying my own very soon, and so I'll have documentation for that. But just wanted, like I said, have something on printer installation and to be able to go through and show you how to install and have the printer set up for sublimation use. So hopefully this helps, and we'll see you guys again real soon.